CES is always about setting the tone for the rest of the year for any company. Intel has made it abundantly clear that they're looking to take science fiction and make it a reality. Muli Eden had a really interesting keynote where he was equating the number of transistors that Intel can put onto a chip to the number of neurons in our brain. So in about 12 years, Intel should be there. Right? Wearables was a really big focus. They've been talking about it for the past few shows, but here at CES, they've really made it clear that the Galileo board, that was their initial development board for wearable, it's now the size of an SD card. So Edison is just the size of an SD card, and it's a full computer. So why don't we learn more about that?
Edison. It's a full Pentium class PC in the form factor of an SD card. It runs a full Linux open source. It has built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth low energy. It has an app store, so you can go in and do app store programming. It will be available in the middle of 2014. With Edison, the opportunities, we believe, are endless. We would like to invite people from across the globe to participate. And to do this and to entice people to get interested, we're offering the largest prize ever. $1.3 million in prizes, $500,000 for first prize. But more importantly, the top 10 contenders will be connected with industry luminaries and Intel to bring those products to market.
So Intel had a few other developer-related demos here at the booth. Why don't we check those out?
So we're showing off the new MIMO monitor. And so the idea with the monitor is it's all based on a onesie. And from the onesie and with our turtle here, we can measure respiration, body position, skin temperature, activity level, and then make all this information available to the parent on their smartphone in real time. So anywhere in the world, you can take a look at your phone and know instantly what's going on with your child. Then we go one step further, and we actually look at that data and we analyze it and look for things like the baby waking up or turning over, or even a pause in breathing, so we can alert the parent and give them more peace of mind.
Hi, my name is Carlos. I'm a research scientist with Intel Labs, and what we have here is what we call the Connect Anything platform. And it's just a very simple piece of code. What it does is you just download the code, put it in an SD card, and as soon as you put it in, the board, it turns the board into a hotspot, and which hosts a website. The website is actually that website, and it allows you to directly control all the pins in the hardware to turn things on and off, receive data from the sensors, and you can have full control of the hardware.
My name is Alex Newman. I'm an engineer at Wolfram Research. And what this is right here is the Wolfram language running on the Intel Galileo. And this is slated for the Galileo. We're also bringing it to the Intel Edison. So this is basically it's a rich, it's sort of a rich language that we kind of want to provide a way for people to make sense of the data that they collect with devices. There's like devices actually produce a lot of data, and there's one thing, what we sort of do is, I think we sort of make sense of that data. We visualize it, we compute it, we can provide, comparisons to the outside world, quantities, things like that. And we can also connect the devices to the cloud, provide cloud-based computation. So we're sort of providing a bridge between, devices and big data.
And they also had a couple new pieces of hardware that we haven't seen before. Why don't we check that out?
Hey, I'm Roland with Mobile Geeks, and we're right here at the Intel booth at CES 2014. And what we have right here is the new Vaio Fit 11A. So that's basically an Intel Bay Trail-based convertible. So what you can do is actually you unlock it. There's a switch back here where you lock the device, and there's magnets in this cover back here. So you can actually fold it like this. There's a nice mechanism on here, like on the bigger 2-in-1 devices from Sony. So when you want to convert it to tablet mode, you just unlock it and fold it down like this. And what you end up with is a device that you can actually carry around. It weighs just above 1 kilogram, I would think. It feels pretty light for a device of this size. It has an 11.6-inch Full HD screen, and it's based on an Intel Pentium N3520 Bay Trail-based quad-core CPU. So this one actually runs at up to 2.16 gigahertz. This one actually has 8 gigs of RAM in here and a 256 gigabyte SSD. let's just move back to the standard mode so I can show you around the device. Just click this in here, lock it, and then you're all set. The display actually folds back pretty far, so you won't have any problems reading on a desktop. And let's take a quick look around. We have the power button back here, full-size HDMI, so you can connect it to any HDTV or HDMI compatible display without using an adapter. You have two USB 3.0 full-size ports right here, combined headset and mic jack. This is a speaker outlet actually. On the front you get the power LED and the battery status LED, nothing else. On the left there's another speaker outlet here. That's a full-size SD card reader. This actually looks like a fan vent. I don't know if there's actually an active fan in there, but at 2.16 gigahertz, the new Pentium N325020 should actually have some smaller heat issues without any fans.
So those of you who have been following me know that I have been active in the perceptual computing community for quite some time. At this show, Perp-C got renamed to RealSense, which is probably a good thing because Perp-C is probably only a name that a developer could love. So the perceptual computing SDK, which was a creative cam, is now going to be embedded into laptops. So we've seen a few reference designs from Intel. So far, no manufacturer has announced them, but a lot of what was happening here at the show was to get the industry excited, right? They showed off, I don't know, there was three, and then they had a few more that I couldn't get closer to. 3 reference designs with the 3D camera built in, 1080p, able to do depth, right? So really bringing that Minority Report reality, bringing gestures, bringing all of these things that we wanted to see for such a long time into our tech. And what was happening on stage was about telling the consumers about what was coming up, but it was more about getting the industry excited about what was possible. Because as consumers, we can't buy things that don't exist. I mean, it seems pretty basic, but CES is that kind of show, that big companies come to make big statements to each other. And that to me was a big part of what I saw at Intel's keynote yesterday.
This is a unique opportunity, a special place and a special platform to deliver to you Intel's vision of the future. Wearables. If you've read the press leading up to CES, it's everywhere. We thought there was one simple answer for us, and that was to develop the smart earbuds. What you don't see is that the sensors for that heart rate are built into those earbuds. Those earbuds are what's measuring that heart rate. They get their power off the microphone jack off your phone. We've nicknamed this smart headset Jarvis. It's hands-free, it's always listening, and it's got seamless integration.
With this smart headset, I can interact with my phone over here without picking it up. In fact, without even touching it.
The Jarvis we showed you tonight was working with a personal assistant that we've been working on, but the system will work with any of your existing personal assistants as well. As you start to get more and more types of wearables, you're going to run into an issue of how do you charge them all? And that's why we developed the next solution, the smart charging bowl. And you can drop multiple devices into this bowl. We're going to put that in there, and all of them are charging now. Where is the watch? I'm proud to show you here the smart watch. All of the features of a smart watch you'd expect. So this system has its own connectivity. It requires no tethering. And it has one other very unique feature, and that is smart geofencing. We are partnering with leaders of the fashion industry to work on wrist-worn wearables. The first 3 partners that we're working with, Barney's, one of the leading-edge retail companies, the CFDA, the most important fashion trade association, and Opening Ceremony, a global omni-channel fashion retailer. As more wearables are out there, there will be more and more security issues. We want to make security an essential part of computing. We are bringing our award-winning mobile security to every mobile device. If you really believe in enabling that ecosystem, what do? You offer it for free. Intel Device Protection Technology. You can now use Android in detachables and tablets anywhere you are, and it will be available this year. It meets the most security requirements for use at home and at work. It's full 64-bit and allows you to move seamlessly in and out of the office. There are times you want Windows, there are times you want Android. We wanted more choice. I'm happy to announce the availability of the dual OS platform. I'm showing you it on Windows right now. I'm simply going to push the button, and it switches to Android.
My name is Shunsuke Nakamura, and software name is Kagura. So I think it's possible to for me to play the music.
Right.
So it's the sense is make me the possible to play music.
I haven't played such a fun RealSense game pretty much ever. So I was a judge on the first perceptual computing challenge by Intel, and these are the games that have come out of the second one. And so this is Kagura. I'm totally in love with it. The evolution of gesture gaming has actually, it's a very significant step in the past 6 months. Even just this water interface, it's very clean, and it gives you an idea of what the surface is like, right? So you come out, and then you can go in, right? So it gives you like a really interesting depth of field. Ow! So here at the RealSense booth, I've met up with Liang, who has an ARpedia demo. So what's really interesting about his company is out of China, and they actually have a history in augmented reality, right? So they've taken one of their augmented reality demos and then adapted it, I guess, with the perceptual computing SDK. So the first thing that we do in the demo is we create an egg. And then we give the egg an environment. Oh no, wait, oh no, sorry. I missed a step. First we have to put the egg in a place for it to be hatched. There we go. Okay, now we can create the environment. Oh, there we go. And then we make it rain. So you can see in this game how they've chosen that the little green dots kind of represent where the depth camera picks up your hand. So now we kind of put some sun around to make it grow, and so then the egg hatches. So this is actually an educational game, which I really like. So here, and now we push the ground down so we can play some flying games. All right, oh, we have to grab him. And then we can choose where we want to go. This is one of my favorite ones. So we're going to feed him. Okay, here, I'll use this hand. So here's some meat. Oh, there's the meat. The meat's on my hand. Is he going to come get it? Here's he coming. He's coming to get it. And then we're going to make him drop it. So how long did it take you to develop this game?
It took 3 of us 2 months to develop this game.
And there's a lot of data produced by the camera. How easy was it to deal with all of that data?
The SDK is pretty easy to learn, and the data is well organized. The depth frame and the RGB frame, the gestures, and the face recognition, they are well organized. It's just easy to retrieve the data.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing what you're going to do next.
So on this one, you actually use 2 hands. Each hand controls a different shield, and the goal is to provide a defense for the reef that's in the middle. So the jellyfish are coming, and you have to put up your hands to block them. The jellyfish start off just moving in straight lines, but eventually they start moving in curves and different patterns, and you have to figure out where they're going to hit in order to block it. So this game, we wanted to focus on just a simple interaction, just having 2 hands and holding them up like shields.
Space Between is another game using the RealSense camera. So I have 2 of the developers who created this. They're just 2 guys and a keyboard. Well, 2 keyboards. So can you tell me about the development of the game?
Sure. So we kind of saw that Intel was doing a contest, and we looked at the submissions of previous year, and we thought that we could really bring something to the table. Both Ryan and I come from a media research background, working in research lab at University of Central Florida, and so we had experience working with gesture technologies as well as new media technologies, interactive projections and things like that. So we developed the game around the camera's technology specifically based on the development time that we had, which was about 2 months.
This camera puts out a lot of data, right? And there's a lot of things that you guys can do with the data. It's almost kind of endless. So you just chose to do like simple hand gestures. What are some of the other things that you had to decide between, right? So you could have gone this way, or you could have gone this way, because there's just so much data to deal with.
Well, originally what we wanted to do, we wanted to involve more of the voice and more of the head tracking.
When you look to the future of where you're going to take the game, how do you think you're going to iterate it next?
Sure. So for the next iteration of the game, I think what we're going to do is we're going to add more types of gameplay. Right now we kind of only have 3, and they're very base level. So we're going to expand on the types of gameplay that we have, and also expand on the depth that we explored those types of gameplay. So having more levels and more deep gameplay, I think. I think the best part about gesture technology specifically is it takes out that learning curve, No more does my mom or my dad have to learn how to use a computer, to be able to interface with it. They can use the language that they already know, that we already use to communicate with each other to control the application. I think that's going to be really cool because it's going to open the doors for a lot more people to start using computers.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys. I think that's great.
Cool.
We're joined by Jacob and Melissa from Unicorn Forest, and they have a game called Head of the Order. And it's actually a really graphically intensive game. You guys usually don't develop for Ultrabooks, do you?
Not usually. Most of our development is traditionally focused on desktop games. Some web and mobile, but usually desktop experiences.
Because the graphics are really impressive. Congratulations on how detailed they are.
Thank you.
So where did you get the inspiration for the game?
This is actually a game I've been wanting to make for a really long time, but I'm just excited now that the hardware is sort of getting there, that we're sort of able to make the game.
So we started off with just a basic tutorial. It sort of walks you through the 2 main spells in the demo, and in the future game there's going to be a lot more spells. So you can create a fireball and then you can sort of wait. You don't have to cast it right away. We have it designed right now to be a little bit easier. He doesn't attack right away. So you can do his shield, you can block his attacks.
The lighting to me looks quite dynamic with the balls randomly going different directions and everything like that. If you guys are working on things like gesture, you're obviously developers who kind of think about the future of development, because everyone's developing for iOS and touch, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's where a big chunk of the money is. But there's so many more exciting things, I think. I mean, Intel at this conference really talked about their new wearable line, right? And the 3D camera and all of these other things. So I know it's only day 1, but what you guys have seen so far, is there any other technology besides gesture that kind of gets you excited?
Definitely controllers for for consoles get me really excited. I know there's a new Steam controller that I can't wait to try out. And I know like the PS4 controller has a little trackpad.
Yeah.
So the gesture is sort of merging into all of these different technologies. It's not just on a screen anymore, and it kind of really ties into cameras and motion capture. It's getting easier now to tie one thing onto many different like computers, many different systems. So if we make this for this camera, we could then put it on something that's touch-based, without much of an issue.
I think it's great to use it as like a highlight. If you focus on using gesture, you can tire the user out or make them move too much. And if it's just like you create that great experience of I used gesture one time and it felt really magical, that's what we aim to do.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. So even though I'd love to, I can't spend all day at the Intel booth. Why don't I check out what the guys are doing?
All right, Corvita Raven here with Mobile Geeks, and we're here with the Gionee E7 that is sporting a Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor, 2.3 gigahertz quad core, 3 gigabytes of RAM, 32 and 64 flash memory, non-expandable, so you can't upgrade that. 5.5-inch IPS panel display that has a 2560 by 1440 resolution, which is quite unheard of here. 13 megapixel camera on the back.
Hey, I'm Roland with MobileGeeks.com and .de, and we're at CES 2014 checking out the new Qualcomm Snapdragon 805, which is actually the first 64-bit capable SoC from Qualcomm, having 4 cores, 64-bit compatible, running at 2.5 gigahertz with an Adreno 420 graphics chip or graphics part in there that is actually capable of DirectX 11.2 graphics and OpenGL GS3 plus OpenGL Next. And this device is actually a developer prototype, so this thing is never going to make it to market in this configuration. We have an SD card slot right here, plus a super speed USB 3.0 port, micro HDMI out, plus a combined headset and mic jack. Up here we have the power button, and on the right this goes on to the screen rotation lock plus the volume rocker. On the left we have pretty much nothing, and on the bottom you get just connectors for this docking station over here, which is actually docked into this HDMI dock running Assassin's Creed. And as you can see, the performance is really pretty freaking awesome. As I said, it's running at 2560 by 1440 pixels. What I'm going to show you right now is actually something that most people haven't been showing off lately. There's a 13 megapixel camera back here, plus a dual LED flash. An NFC module is integrated as well. And let's just do a quick look inside this device, because that's something you're probably not going to see that often on a tablet. So this is the internals of the device. The 805 is somewhere back here, obviously covered by a heatsink, and you have a huge battery from Samsung in here. So this has been the Qualcomm 805, Snapdragon 805 based developer tablet. I have the new ZTE Nubia Z5S right here. That's the Z5S Mini in this case, which is a 4.7-inch 720p screen smartphone with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 quad-core under the hood. That's running at 1.7 gigahertz, combined with 2 gigs of RAM, 16 or 32 gigs of flash storage, and also LTE capability, and otherwise also super high-end, or not super high-end, but pretty high-end specs on this one. We have a 5 megapixel camera up here. Again, this 4.7-inch 720p screen, which looks really, really good. They have capacitive touch buttons underneath the screen, so you don't waste any space on the screen itself. On the back, you get a 13 megapixel camera right there with its LED flash, plus the headset jack up there. That's the power button over there. And on the bottom, we have just this single micro USB port and a mic. It's very colorful actually, because the Z5S, the bigger one, is more plain in colors, but the Z5S Mini is actually available in a lot of different colors. It looks like a really awesome phone that I definitely want to see in Europe or Germany. And that was Roland with Mobile Geeks with a quick hands-on with the ZTE Nubia Z5S Mini. Thank you.
Nicole Scott here from Mobile Geeks, and here we are at the Razer booth in front of a concept PC. Toaster oven? PC. Well, it's like a toaster, because it's modular. So you can actually pop each of these in and out and to do like a variety of different configurations. So the bottom part here is actually all mineral oil. So it actually pumps the oil up through the rest of the system for active cooling. And if you come around to this side, you can actually see that you can swap out a lot of these different things. So we have one over here with a USB port and a headphone jack. You can put in, there's actually a 5 SSD RAID in there. You can see up there, choose your operating system. Right now it's between Windows and Windows, and they can add another operating system. I wonder what operating system they could be implying that maybe could go in there. Yeah. Anyways, so if you kind of like look at it, it is purely concept. And the thing about Razer is that they are a company that will make something like this, put it out to the world, and then say, world, do you really think we should make it? Do you really think this is something that we should do? Because when they had their gamepad, they went, oh, yeah, this is cool. And basically everyone went, yeah, that's neat. But then gamers just started like vomiting with joy, like they're zombies, because gamers love zombies. And then Razer made it. So basically what Razer is doing with this is they're launching it out at CES, and they're saying, gamers, do you love it? Right? So guys, comment, do you love it? Do you think that Razer should make it? Do you think that this is something that should really happen? I mean, yes, it's sexy. But do we need a modular PC with active liquid cooling from the bottom? If you're a gamer, the answer is yes. So obviously everyone leave a comment so Razer makes this. Nicole Scott from Mobile Geeks. Well, I'm exhausted. That was day one. We saw a lot of great stuff. I'm going to get to bed now so I can get up nice and early and beat the crowds to the show floor. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Nicole from Mobile Geeks.